All right, guys, back to work here tonight. Weekend's over. I know that time just flies right by, but it's back to work. It's Monday evening. It's November the 15th, 2021. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Now, if you're watching for the first time tonight, it's great to have you with me. My job tonight is to help us find the best trades, setting up for tomorrow. That's Tuesday's trading session. Got a great video in store for you guys and gals tonight. Charts are all ready in the background here, as you can see. S&P's ready. Nasdaq is ready. The oil is ready. Had a rollover later this week on the oil. Got a lot of great trades on our radar for tomorrow. You'll notice a bunch of ranges right now on these markets, right? Range on the S&P, range on the Nasdaq, multiple ranges on the oil right now. Ranges are magnets. Ranges tell me to look for failures, right? Failed breakouts, trade rotation. Get a lot of great trades kind of using these ranges as we go into Tuesday's trading session. I'm going to break down my favorite trades in tonight's video, so make sure you watch all the way to the end. I'll also make sure I give you guys some stuff to avoid tomorrow to keep yourself out of trouble, whether you're trading with us in the trade room or you're trading on your own tomorrow morning. Before we jump into these charts and get our hands dirty, get a lot of great trades talk about tonight on the video. Before we jump in though, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I publish this video every evening during the week with my best trade ideas. I don't want you to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe. When you do, hit that bell icon so you always get notified every time we publish something new. If you have any questions for me, drop those questions for me in the comment section. I would love to answer any questions that you might have along the way, so don't be afraid to ask questions. And if you guys enjoy this video as much as I enjoy making it, if you use this newsletter to get your mind right and get those charts right for tomorrow, hit that like button for me. Appreciate you guys supporting this YouTube channel by subscribing, hitting that thumbs up if you enjoy this video content here. But enough of the intro though. Let's get into the charts for tonight. Tomorrow, of course, is Tuesday, so we're getting ready for Tuesday's trading session. A lot of, honestly, a lot of great shorts on my radar here for tomorrow. S&P is a range. Would love to short this thing as it pops up. Nasdaq has this beautiful wedge, right, which, of course, combined with that big move down makes for a beautiful spot for a short going back down again. And although the oil you can definitely see has a lot of strength here, we got a bunch of ranges down here. Yesterday or last Friday was a range. There's a big spike in channel. The bulls definitely have control right now, but I'll show you kind of why I'm so concerned about being a buyer way up here on the black gold, right? The Texas T, the oil futures here for tomorrow. And of course, you know me, right? I'm not completely married to the short side tonight. I think the easier money is the sell side right now, but obviously we want to make sure we're ready for the long side here. I got a good plan here if these buyers can take control on the E-minis, and we'll talk about navigating some long side trades here on the oil as well. So not to worry whether whether you're trying to get long, get short, I got you covered here on this video. Before we jump into the charts though here, let's just make sure we're all on the same page for tomorrow. It is the third week of the month of November, and really the last full week of the month, right? Because next week we've got that Thursday, Friday not kind of holiday, but Thanksgiving next week, right? So make sure you get that stuff in and get the turkey ordered, right? So you're not too late for next week's holiday, right? So again, next Thursday, Friday is the Thanksgiving Day holiday. So this, of course, is a very big week in our trade room. As we look at tomorrow's trading session, you'll notice the big news tomorrow is, and this could arguably the big news of the week tomorrow. The big news is probably going to be seen as that retail sales number at 8:30 Eastern time. I doubt you're going to see many people worrying about that industrial production number. Retail sales, obviously, with inflation flirting with double digits right now, year over year. So far, all the smart people out there have been telling us this is good inflation, transitory inflation. We're going to find out right away what the average consumer feels about this inflation. We'll see how good they think it is coming into tomorrow's trading session. This will definitely be something the markets will be watching for tomorrow. A surprise number may definitely give us some nice big moves tomorrow, bright and early in our trade room. That really is all we have to work with tomorrow. We are going to see a lot of Fed speakers as we go later on in the session tomorrow. Remember, they've all been telling us this inflation is supposed to be transitory. We'll see if anybody starts to break that down and starts to, contradict what they said earlier on in the year. That will definitely be some potential market moving events later on tomorrow afternoon. So get to it early. Stick around for the end of the session tomorrow. It should be a pretty good day tomorrow in the trade room. We got more news coming later on in the week. We got the oil report on Wednesday, some Philly Fed and jobs, and it's not on the calendar, but we have Clarita speaking on Friday, the vice chair of the Fed. That's some more news coming later on this week. So we got a lot of big catalysts in the market later on this week. Be aware too, oil usually rolls over on the 18th of the month. So Wednesday, Thursday, we're thinking about oil rollover to, dare I say, the January 2021 contracts. If you're an oil trader, you want to keep an eye on rollover as we go into Thursday's trading session. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll be in our trade room. You can grab all the membership details in the description of the YouTube video. I'll put a big button for you on the website as well, so you can get registered for tomorrow morning's trading session, where we'll put the plan together tonight and we'll execute that plan, of course, tomorrow morning. S&P, Nasdaq, oil, looking really good. Kind of a sloppy session, as you probably saw today. Why don't we jump into the S&P first? And of course, we'll kind of work our way right on down my favorite markets as I get ready for tomorrow. What's the most important factor right now on the S&P? Most important factor right now, we have a bear market into a trading range. Simple as that. Whenever it comes to a bear market into a trading range, we want to go with the overall momentum, right? The range itself acts as a magnet. What you want to think about when it comes to a bear market into a trading range, knowing that the bears have the edge, at least for now, and the range acts like a magnet, there are really kind of two basic ideas of how you want to trade it. You want to try to get up above the range, look for buyers to fail, and then come crashing back down, selling at areas of resistance above the range. And then what I like to do is try to ride that momentum and look for a follow-up entry, right, somewhere over on the opposite side of it, right? So we're selling above the high, and then what I like to do is kind of think about, okay, how much do we go up? That's probably going to be about as much as we go down, and that's where I'm kind of aiming for, right, on the other side of that trading range. Looking to short it as we go above the range, and then looking to trade the rotation, as we say, right, as it rotates back down again. You know what I mean? So the bears, they want to get back down to retest that low, and if they can really get this party going tomorrow, the bears have another wide open space down there, got a range you can see acting as a magnet around 46.50 area. So lots of, really lots of, good opportunity here for the bears right now to sell short up above the top of this trading range. Now, as you can see, there's a couple problems that we have right now for those bears. The big one is this trend line. And so that definitely gives the buyers a very big opportunity. Doesn't mean they have control of this market just yet. It's, again, very strong move down into that trading range. So I'm not quite willing to call this a bullish reversal just yet. But the buyers may certainly take advantage of this trend line in their way right now. The buyers, of course, would love to get back up and retest that kind of overnight high. And then, of course, speaking of highs, there's that all-time high kind of waiting in the wings up there, 47.11. The hard part right now for the bulls is not location, but it's momentum. The buyers need to get something going here. They have to basically prove to us that they have or want to control this market. You'll notice there's a little range right there. It's not difficult to see if you measure the amount below that range and project. It's not difficult to see. This could easily rotate back up to retest those highs. The question is can the buyers hold it? That's the big question here right now. So, again, as I mentioned earlier, I'd love to short this thing right now. My problem, of course, is this rising support trend line. I'd love to get this thing to go up, get the buyers try to buy into it, right? And then just simply sell into those stop losses. And that's what I would do, if I didn't have this trend line, right? I would wait for it to pop up, get up into areas of resistance up overhead, right? Wait for those buyers to come in and see if they can buy that pullback. And once they do, again, if the range is the magnet, I can short right into stop losses. Obviously, I can't do it in this condition. So what I'll do is I'll look for a trap entry for a 1, a 2, and a trap. Whenever you have a rising support trend line, the best entry technique, well, that is if you're trying to use a small stop loss, like I specialize in our trade room, if you're trying to use a small stop, the trap is going to be your best bet. That trap pattern may then turn into that strong run lower, and then we're able to kind of drill down and get our entry off the high of that channel, right? So you get your trap entry, and then usually what you usually find coming in off the top of that new channel will be a trap setup. We talked about earlier. It may also be what we call a buyer failure, right? And we'll talk more about those kind of price action entries as we go a little bit deeper, into this video, right? So that's kind of how I'd like to sell this thing as it pops up, right? Get those buyers kind of roped in there, get that trap entry above a prior swing so I can try to absorb some of this trend line coming below me. And then if I can get this thing to turn over, then go out and trade that turn, trade that rotation, looking for that short coming off the high of that new channel, with the goal, of course, of taking some profit off at the major low and then trying to hold on to a runner here, right down to that we call a pendulum swing, right on the opposite side. Now, obviously, if the market pops higher here, if these buyers can hold a pullback and hold, now that creates a reversal. It creates a breakout. It creates what we call a 1, 2, 3 breakout pattern. Now, these are pretty easy to trade. The most important thing is you got to know where the market wants to go, right? Up there at that 98 area. When I see the buyers hold that pullback and jump like this, remember they didn't do it there, There's no guarantee they'll do it here. There really isn't. So I can't buy that first pullback. But once they get that 1, 2, 3 jump off the moving average, once they jump off the moving average, now we have a pretty good idea of where they're trying to go, and I can almost always grab a quick scalp off the low of this channel, right? Now, when it comes to the entry, when it comes to this entry, so one of my favorite entry techniques are traps. And so as we go higher, what I'm always telling our students the trader to look for is draw that channel. Think about where that little swing is right below that channel, right? So think about trap pattern underneath that low. We get underneath the moving average. The bears will come in, try to sell it short. Remember, at this point now, we're bullish. I can use a failure pattern here, right? And then that first pullback off the moving average. 3 possible price action entries after this 1, 2, 3 reversal, right? Got my trap entry, my failure entry, and my pullback entry. Now remember, I'm just simply kind of drawing on the screen right now. I go over a lot more detail along with all the rules we use to qualify and which examples of these you want to avoid. I cover a lot more of those details in our Quick Start class. If you haven't taken the Quick Start class yet, I'll put a little button up there in the upper right hand corner. It's like a shortcut course. It'll bring you right up to speed with how we trade every day in our trade room. But most importantly, you'll see a lot of examples of things like that, right? That 1, 2, 3 reversal, find that channel, and you'll see how I like to find those entries off the low of that channel, because that's the trick, right? That's the trick. The trick is find the channel's the easy part, but triggering the right entry without forcing it, right? Getting the right entry signal, that's the secret. And I'll cover those details obviously again in that free trading class. Now, as we go lower, what can I do as we go lower here, right? I got some notes down here for that breakout pullback, right? So what can we do if the market rolls lower? Maybe we don't get that pop and that trap that I want to sell back down. Maybe the market simply rolls back down and takes out that low. Now, what can I do at that point? Well, remember, the range above us is a magnet, right? The range above us is a magnet. If I can see the bears take out that low, at the minimum at least, and then try once, try twice, this is kind of a variation of a failure pattern. You can see an example back here, right? So we make a strong run down. The bears try to keep it going once. They try to keep it going twice, and buyers will buy into that, right? It's an exhaustion pattern. It's called the two-try rule. And because we got the range above us as a magnet, and they take out that low, this is a valid entry setup to be buying back higher. Again, we'd call this a two-try failure. Let the bears try once. Let the bears try twice. The only reason why we look for two tries is because we're so bearish. Right? So bears try once, bears try twice, nice strong signal. I like to look for trend lines, right? Or trap levels, right? You'll learn more about that stuff inside that free quick start class that I mentioned earlier, but that'd be an easy way to buy off of that low. Gotta be careful trading the turn on these ones, because again, you're gonna put yourself back up at the high of that range, you know what I mean? So gotta be careful kind of trading the turn because we are so bearish. Right? But I definitely like the idea of a two-try reversal or two-try failure off of that low. And then how do we sell it as it goes lower? There's a couple options. We actually have 4 different breakout patterns we use in our trade room. I'll cover a couple of them here on the S&P, and I'll cover a few of them a little bit later on in this video, so make sure you watch all the way to the end. If we do get that strong run down, an easy way to trade a breakout is to let them hold and jump. They didn't do it here. So if they can hold that pullback, now remember guys, it doesn't matter how strong that first leg is. They have to break, they have to again, take out that low and then show me sellers that you want it. If the bears can hold that pullback and jump off the moving average, you can almost guarantee you'll get at least a scalp, if not a nice big runner on that first test of that channel. And again, when I talk about first test of that channel, this is a 5,000 tick chart, right? Inside that quick start class, linked up in the upper right hand corner, right? You'll learn about how we use traps and failures and pullback combinations on a faster time frame to actually signal and trigger the entries. And you'll also learn kind of some stuff to avoid there. So we don't take every single pullback that we get. Got to use a set of rules, and so you'll learn that in the quick start class. So that's going to be an easy way to trade this as it goes lower. What you want to remember whenever we have a breakout is that the breakout leg, right? The breakout leg. Now, I'm just drawing this up right now, but the size of that breakout leg is going to tell you where that next target is. Okay? It could be huge, right? It could be huge, right? Pull back and really break down, right? So if that's the case, again, you find your new channel, you drill down, you find your entry, whichever entry setup we get off the high of that channel, and then that leg right there, right? That's your measuring leg. And you simply project it down, and that's where the market wants to go next, right? Remember, whenever it's a range, the breakout leg, right, is the measuring leg. So that is some easy way, right, to sell this thing as it goes lower. And if it really starts to really kick into gear here, that 46 area, there's a big range back there. Ranges act like magnets, so it wouldn't surprise me if this market really runs. Again, the buy side right now is kind of the hard side, just because the momentum isn't quite there yet. Don't be afraid of the buy side, but make sure, though, that you wait for proof before you go out and start to look for it. I got a couple more setups here on the S&P. Well, let's go to the Nasdaq though, right? Let's go to the Nasdaq though. A lot more we could do in the Nasdaq, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about the Nasdaq here can also apply over to the S&P as well, right? And of course, we'll have more time tomorrow in the trade room to dive into the S&P. Over in the Nasdaq here right now, what's going on the Nasdaq? How would you describe kind of this market? Well, the Nasdaq kind of opened up in the range, right? We went up, broke through it, and then pretty much into a range here, and then ran lower on pretty good strength. If you took these ranges off the chart right now, it's a pretty strong move down. Pretty strong move down there for the bears. Now, at the same time, you can see a pretty decent pullback here for the bulls, right? Get a pretty decent pullback here for the bulls. There's one thing, though, that really kind of stands out right now for the bulls, and that is this wedge. It's really difficult to not see this wedge right now. Wedges are pretty consistent in the sense of when I draw that trend line, where they come together, right, is a pretty reliable area of resistance. You can see what we have going on right now. If somebody asked me, how would you describe the Nasdaq? I would say it was a very strong move down, right, I would say we have a pretty big pullback, right? A pretty deep pullback as we go higher here. And, with the range above us, kind of acting as a magnet, potentially acting as overhead, resistance here on this right now. The easier money right now is the sell side. Easier may not be the word, right? The better risk reward ratio is on the sell side right now. Does that mean we can't continue this pendulum swing and run higher and take out those highs? Absolutely not. That is absolutely possible because, again, there's a range up here overhead right now. This one's a bit of a tricky one. It's not easy to get long right now because of the wedge resistance overhead, a lot of levels of resistance up overhead. So unlike the S&P, where the S&P had no bulls coming on, right? The S&P has no bulls involved right now. The buyers are definitely here on the Nasdaq. You can definitely see. I would also say, too, this is a very underwhelming reversal. All right, you're going to see what a reversal looks like on the oil, right? We're going to grab a look at the oil here in a second, and you'll see what a good reversal looks like. This to me just seems very underwhelming. It's kind of a measured, stacked leg going higher there. It's just not very convincing. When a market drops like that and you get that reversal. Why didn't we finish all the way back? You know what I mean? It's just again, very underwhelming here for these bulls. Now, again, I think these buyers will probably continue to try to bring this higher here. You've got the bottom of that trading range. You've got that wedge target or the wedge, resistance up there. So the buyers definitely probably have a little bit more room to breathe going higher. The question is how on earth can I buy this thing right now? It's very difficult to want to buy it. And I really don't believe these buyers. Just the way that they reversed here, that's not your typical 1, 2, 3 reversal, right? So I'm looking for the short side right now. Call me crazy, but I'm looking for a short. I'll take whatever the market gives me, right? I don't care what direction I trade in. But right now, it looks like the easier money. Again, easy may not be the right word, but the better risk reward ratio is on the sell side. My biggest problem right now is momentum is a lot more bullish on the Nasdaq than it is on the S&P. So in order for me now to want to sell this, I've got to try to anticipate if I was a buyer, where would I be trying to get in? And then try to short into their exits, right? Basically trapping those buyers and use their stop losses as fuel to drop this sucker back down. And the idea is pretty simple. We're going to use that 2-try failure pattern that we just talked about on the S&P. I think the magic number right now is going to be the 16,160. What I'd like to do is get these buyers trying once, get them trying twice, and see if I can't get a trap entry. Really try to get them to buy below that swing low, because this is actually a pretty good looking buy setup. If you were to come out and draw a channel off that high, off of that low, like that's a really good looking, we call these 2-try trap setups, right, in our trade room. That's a really good looking setup right there. Again, a little bit underwhelming here for the buyers right now because of all of that strength going lower here and just not seeing much of a pop, right, after we've supposedly reversed off of that low here. I would like to get those buyers to try that and give them to fail. And because we're a little more bullish right now than we are bearish, I want to see them try once. I want to see him try twice. Now, here's a couple things to think about on this short. One, the trap, whenever we're more bullish than bearish, the trap will always be your best friend. Okay, and that trap can easily turn into a new hidden channel, right, and trade that turn, just we talked about on the S&P, right? I can sell that trap and I can short the top of that channel using one of the entry setups you'll learn in that quick start class. So that's going to definitely be some options here as we go down. Just make sure though you get that follow-up entry. You're going to want that before you retest that 16,106 area, just because obviously it's a pretty obvious area of support there. As long as I can get that done, I like those shorts for tomorrow. One more thing you want to think about. One more thing. As we pull back, got to be really careful about, well, let's do it this way. One of my favorite ways to short these 2-try failures is to draw a trend line off of the low and then bring it up around that high. Okay, now this you got to use this with care. You can be careful on this one. Okay, again, I want to get those buyers trying once, trying twice, so I can short this thing back down into that, right down to those lows here again, because you've got that big strong move down. Anytime we see a strong move in one direction, there's a good chance we go back and retest that level. Right? The problem we want to run into, though, is this one looks good. What you got to worry about is something like this, where it goes 1, comes down 2. You don't want to get too wrapped up in that type of short right there. That's oftentimes the one, right, that's going to come back to bite you. When that happens, those 2 tries like this, you almost always want to go in for some sort of trap. All right? Just think about it this way. The lower it goes, right, the lower it goes, the more you want that trap. Remember, you want to sell as high as you can. Okay? So that's why I said earlier, if I can get this thing to come in, bulls once, bulls twice, get that trap for that short, that's a money trade right there, right? And then the sellers coming down will create such FOMO that you can grab that short right there, right? Trap into that kind of 1, 2, 3 reversal, and then short top of that channel. The challenge you're into, though, is when you get something like this, right, where it's like 1, 2, right? You want to really try to get, again, that channel now is going to be really steep and you're selling really low. A lot of bears are going to reject that idea. They're not going to want to sell low like this. If it starts to really push lower, you got your 1, you got your 2, this is exactly where traps will come in, right? Just going to keep that in mind as you go lower there, right? You want that trap the lower you are. Again, you can find that channel like that. Again, grab that trap. Just make sure it's a trap, okay? As you go lower, that'll be the easiest way to do it here. And then, of course, let's see here. If we go, again, the buyers have potential here to buy that trap. That's definitely something the buyers may look into, but it's just not something I'm looking for right now. As we, again, with this range magnet below us, and of course the wedge resistance up overhead here. How would I buy this thing going higher? What do you think? How would you buy this? That's the hard part right now. You really have to get kind of like a 1, 2, 3 really strong punch, and then try to grab some sort of trap entry. We call these 2-try traps on the way back up to retest the high. It's not going to be very easy to get long up there. It just isn't, right? So we'll have to wait for a little more strength. Remember, whenever you get a strong move in one direction, it creates a bunch of FOMO, and a lot of people will want to buy that first pullback if we can get that strength. The key, of course, in this will be we want to get into it before we take out those highs. That's not going to be easy. The buy side here, not going to be easy. We may end up, again, with that 1, 2 back down, or we may end up going into these highs up here, and then same thing, right? Range magnet, almost like one big range magnet, right? We run higher here. The buyers try once, the buyers try twice, and we're, shorting off the high, right? We go up, the buyers once, buyers twice, right? Shorting off the high. Same idea. Right, same idea over off these highs here for tomorrow. Now again, if the buyers can pop up, if they can hold this pullback and really jam, then great. We'll give the buyers control, find that new channel, and we'll drill down and we'll find the entries off the low of that channel. We know there's those highs up there, right? We got plenty. It's plenty of targets up there around that 16,380. We just have to, again, we got to get some strength going here, because the way that it closed today just did not look very convincing here. If the market was to fall apart and run lower, right? If it fell apart and ran lower, traps, right? Traps. If it falls apart and runs lower, find that trap. Okay, don't chase after it. Wait for that trap. That low will sneak up on you real fast. Okay, if you can find a kind of a channel there, even better, right? Not necessary, but a trap entry would be off the high there. That'd be fantastic. And then at the same time, if they can take this thing lower, if they can hold that pullback and they can break out going lower here, there's that 1, 2, 3 breakout. They didn't get it done there, but if the bears are able to, take out these lows and then of course hold that pullback and jump. This could easily start to go lower. You got that 16,170, 16,020 area. Now, we talked about this pattern earlier, right? That 1, 2, 3 get a breakout move, 1, 2, 3 breakdown move, and that short. Another thing we might look for tomorrow, if the market was to collapse back down to that low, is to look for a grinder. Okay, this does happen quite a bit where the market will kind of pop lower and then kind of grind lower here. You can almost kind of see an example right here. Where it kind of pops lower and grinds. And see what they do in this examples? What do? They mark up that low, they bring it up around those highs, right? And they short it as soon as it pops. Same thing over here, right? So kind of keep it in mind too as it rolls lower, right? Mark up that trend line off that low, find that high. And then what I always do is try to mark up some of these prior swings, right? Get that trap entry, right? Get that failure, that pullback combination. Again, you'll see a lot of examples of these trap, failure, pullback combos. You'll see hundreds of examples of that inside that quick start class. So you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Remember, anytime we see a strong move in one direction, the odds are pretty good we're going to retest that low. So if it pops lower and starts to grind lower, just wait for that pop up. Everybody will want to sell off the top of that new channel. Look for your traps, look for your buyer failures, right? And then go after a retest of that low here. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward here for the sell side on the Nasdaq right now. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, we'll be trading this stuff tomorrow in our trade room. So definitely don't be afraid to come out and join us. How about some oil here? Now that is a reversal. Yeah, that is, I still want to sell it. I still want to short this thing, but that is a reversal, right? This is what the Nasdaq should have done today. The Nasdaq, if the Nasdaq really had control of this, it would have popped and ran. It would have gone more than just, a little measured leg, going higher there, right? That's why I'm so hesitant to be a buyer right now on the NQ. Over on the oil though, how would you describe the oil market? And again, don't forget, it's the 15th tonight, right? We're now on the 15th here right now. The 18th of the month is almost always rollover on crude oil. So keep that in mind. We're on the 12/21 contract right now. We're going to go into, my goodness, the 2022 contract, the January 22, right? Oil rolls over every 1 month, usually around the 18th of each month, give or take a day on either side of it. Usually it's pretty accurate though. So how would you describe what's going on here on the oil? Well, as you can see, strong move down into a range, choppy move down into a range, big strong pop off of that low. I think the biggest thing right now is there has got to be a lot of volume at these lows right now. I'm not much of a market profile guy myself, but the first thing I think of is strong move down. There has to be a lot of volume, right, piled up right in this area right here. And that acts as a magnet. I don't think you need market profile, by the way, because once you know how to find ranges, right, ranges will tell you. There's two ranges stacked on top of each other. Right? Those ranges act like magnets. So as we go higher, it's easier to make the money shorting back into that magnet area. At the same time here, if you look a little bit larger, and I don't want to kind of cloud our, I don't want to overcomplicate this right now, but if you look a little bit larger, what is this? It's a spike in channel, right? Spike down into a channel. Now, I will play devil's advocate on this. You can see we're right at the top of that channel, okay? Which is a great place for the sellers to come in and take it lower. But at the same time though, if you know this newsletter, if you watch this every evening, what do spike in channels always tell us? The base of that channel. So we know that kind of where that channel begins is a very big objective for the buyers. So that puts us right around what? 82.45, 82.50, 82 even at least. And so playing devil's advocate here, you could easily see how these buyers might say, no, we're going up here and then back down again. You can see, right? Range down here, range down here. You can easily see there's a lot of volume piled up down here. Okay, so going up and coming back down is very likely. Again, it may not happen quickly tomorrow. Just be aware of that, right? Because as you can see, these buyers have a lot of momentum here right now. Again, I think the easier money right now is a short side. I don't want to buy into this area, top of the channel, above the high of the range. I think you could easily make an argument for the sell side. Now, a lot like on the Nasdaq, because the buyers have all of this momentum right now, what I'd like to do is try to anticipate where those buyers are likely to be buying and look for a short into their stop losses. Simple as that. If I was trying to be a buyer right now, and again, the buyers may hold this, but if I was trying to buy this market right now, I would look for an entry right below this low. I mentioned this in the Nasdaq earlier, if you recall, right? Get the trend line coming in. There's that beautiful trap spot, right? Little trap spot. Again, I don't particularly like this trade. You might like it. It's a valid setup. I just think personally, with the ranges below us and the top of that channel right now, just for me, I'd rather be short. I'd rather be short this market. Again, I might not get it though, right? So how do we short this thing right now? Same way we talked about in the Nasdaq. I want to get those buyers trying once, get them trying twice. Can I get that trap and that short back down, right? Find that new channel and then hit it again. That will be fantastic, right? That trap into that first test. Always the best test, right? The first test of that channel. Where do the bears want to go? They want to go back down to retest those lows. I would love to take some profit off here at the low of that range, right? It's obviously kind of a little bottom there, and then leave a little piece of it, right, to run down to the low of that channel. Get that nice channel, that nice channel rotation. At the same time, too, we may end up going, something like this, right? 1, 2, find that, right? Find that low, right? Find that high and that short from there, right? Same basic idea, right? Buyers once, buyers twice. We're selling at, remember, this particular technique, you don't want to do it way down here, right? If it does collapse like that, you want to go after a trap. Right? If it does come back and go, okay, right, and run going lower here now, okay, now look for a trap. As we go lower here now, find that trap and use that trap. Channel not required, but definitely beneficial, right? So as we go lower here, that trap entry is going to work best. Why? Because traps are best to help you avoid selling too low, right? I don't want to sell into this low here. You have to assume there's going to be a lot of support down there. I don't want to sell into that low. Right? I want to sell a trap. Traps are great whenever you're concerned about, in this case, selling too low, right? I can sell high above that prior swing. So again, as the market pulls back, 1, 2, do we get lucky for a trap up there, right? Do we roll over and go after that, right? That kind of hidden channel, right? We'll have to wait and see how we get, and then again, try to trade that turn as we come off that high here. Just some food for thought there and things I'll be looking for, here tomorrow. Heads up too, if we do end up back and we start going sideways into that range tomorrow, that'll be a bear market into a trading range. What do we do with a bear market range? We talked about this on the S&P, right? We find a level of resistance overhead. We look for the pop up. We wait for the buyers to come in, try to buy that pullback. We do not try to predict that top. Right? Picking tops and bottoms is a rookie mistake, right? We're not trying to pick that top. Again, if you're trying to use a small stop loss, unless you're scaling into the position, which by the way, you need at least a 6-figure account to do that, right? To do it safely, that is. If you're trying to use a small stop loss, right, like I am, then what you want to do is wait for that pop up, right? Wait for those buyers to come in and get long. And then, of course, their stops, right? Their stops are right there. All of that momentum for the bears, you can now hit it, right, and sell right back down again. Nice, easy failure pattern above the high of that range, right? So we're definitely going to keep an eye on that for tomorrow. One thing you got to be careful with, if we do end up back at those lows, that's going to be a hell of a lot of momentum. So the idea that we're going to get this 1, 2, and then back up right away is, on the S&P it makes sense because it's not coming all the way down. You know what I mean? On the S&P, we talked about on the S&P, right? If the S&P comes down, I can easily still justify 1, 2 back up. There's not a lot of momentum here. Right? But if the market runs way up and then comes all the way back down, there's no way I'm going to buy that, right? It's just the bears are too strong at that point. So just remember, keep it in mind, right? Everything has to be looked at through the lens of context. We don't just trade patterns. We trade the situation. If the market was to make a run down to those lows here, I'd be looking for it to either keep going with one of those grinds, right? Can it get up, fail, back down again, right? Or maybe it, right, takes out that low, holds that pullback, and just keeps on running, right? Find that new channel as we go. We see a lot of that. We see a lot of that 1, 2, 3 move, right? We find those channels off those lows up around those highs, right? And short off of those, right? And short off those highs, right? It's very, very common. So if the market does make that roll going lower here and really starts to push, right, as it goes lower here, don't worry about, right, that low there. Just simply find that, right? Find that channel. Figure out where your moving average is, trap in those buyers, right, and sell off the highs of those channels. We'll know more about that obviously tomorrow morning once we get our hands dirty on this market here. How do we trade this if it goes higher? That, again, like the Nasdaq, not easy, but not impossible. If we do go higher here, we have to assume these buyers are hunting for this, 82, 82.20, let's say, right? That's the base of that channel. So right now, show me some proof. Show me some proof. And what I mean by that is hold that pullback. Right? Hold that pullback. Show me you want this and show me you can hold it. Right? It could be this trap and run up. It could be the pullback off the moving average, but show me some strength. And then once we get that strength move, right, and they're actually holding it now I can mark up that high, I can mark up that low, I can drill down to my faster time frame. We do not trade oil on a 2,000 tick chart in the trade room. We'll drill down to a much faster time frame. I'll find my entry setup. Right? We don't use indicators for entries. We use price action, things like failures and traps and pullback combinations off the moving average, right? So you'll learn that in the quick start class. That's an easy way, right? 1, 2, 3 breakout. First test is always the best test. Or maybe it jumps, strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price. Traps, baby. Another one of my favorite breakout patterns. We call these 2-try breakouts. Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, trap. Okay, again, think about 82.5, 82.40, right, as that target. Think about this leg as the breakout leg, right? That'll give you the magnet, right? That'll give you the objective of where the market wants to go, right? Breakout leg is the measuring leg. And if it keeps on grinding, right? Grinds. Don't chase it. Find that channel, identify that trap, grab that trap, grab that failure, that pullback combination. Again, I'm simply scribbling on the charts right now. You'll get a whole roadmap for this stuff, how to find the channels, how to find the entries. It's all part of that, right? It's all included in that quick start class. All right. And we know where the market wants to go, right? It's going to want to get up around these highs. The size of the breakout leg is the size of the next objective, right? Measured leg, right? So keep that on your radar as we go higher here. All right, guys. Boy, great opportunities for tomorrow. Again, I like the short side, but I will gladly flip this into the long side if we get the proof that we need here from this. I'll be curious to see what happens on the oil here. I definitely will. I like the short with those ranges below us. Be curious to see if we can get the right setup here over the next few hours here. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern Time in our trade room. Hope I'll see you there with us. I'll put all the membership details in the description of the YouTube video. I'll put a big button for you on the website right below me tonight on this channel. All right, guys. In the meantime, have a great rest of your evening. Rest up. Busy day tomorrow. Busy week ahead of us here. Last full week ahead of the holiday. And again, make sure you get your plans ready for Turkey Day next week here. Boy, that next Thursday will be before you know it. So don't be the last one in the aisle at the grocery store. Anyways, all kidding aside, my name is Joseph. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow, right? Trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. If not, I'll see you tomorrow night, and we'll do it all again for Wednesday's trading session, right? Tomorrow night's video. That's all for me, guys. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.